Welcome to Pittsburgh Sportsline at Sip Sports Bar, 3024 West Liberty Avenue, 15216, downtown Dormont. You can't miss it. We got a great crowd. We got so many guests. I'm going to probably have to cut my conversation a lot shorter than normal. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. I got Smokin' Jim Frazier. We got Chip the Prophet Hayner, and plenty of guests waiting to come on this show. Thanks for watching our show. Thanks for coming out to the bar. We appreciate it. It's a great place. A lot of, Tracy's back. 2 weeks in a row. She left us to go out of the country and work somewhere else. The best bartender in Dormont's back here, folks. So just order up. Keep drinking. And Chief's drinking some fancy drink. Looks like some surfer guy drink. I don't know what he's doing. Chief's here. Don Campiti just left us. Oh, wait a second. Tuesdays. 50 cents a slice of Campiti's Pizza. It's legendary pizza on Potomac Avenue. They'll serve them at Sip Sports Bar, so you can watch our show while they're streaming it on the computer here, because tomorrow night we do our live studio show. Thursday is jumbo wings, 25 cents.
I'm going tonight.
And maybe Chip Hayner will be there, because I heard Stephanie's away. He's hungry here. And then Friday, jumbo fish sandwiches, entertainment every Saturday night. We got a Cabana boy walking by. I don't know where the owner is. We'll have to talk to him. Looks like a guy from Hawaii. Hey, I got to at least broadcast this bar we got last week. Claudio Rosano, baseball head coach at CMU. He's involved with this energy bar, protein bar. It's one of the best bars that I've ever had. Yes, I had 2 of them. Thank you. Then we got to promote. You guys have seen this for a while up at Seneca Valley in Butler. The Unicycle National Championship. Dave Crack, the Butler Wobble, sponsoring it. We're going to try to get him as a guest. There's rumors that Trina Hess, Dr. Trina Hess, who started us on this, is out there practicing. She may be in next Monday, so we'll see her. Chip, what's on your mind?
Well, being that we've got a full slate of guests, I'm going to make this short and sweet. But unfortunately, the hockey season ended for us miserably on Friday night, and that begs the question now as to who's going to stay and who's going to go. Potentially, there's 7 free agents on the team that the Penguins are going to have to determine if they stay or go. And the argument around the city right now is, what's going to happen to Dan Bilesma? Should he stay or should he go? And there's arguments for or against. And one of the things that upset me the most or bothers me about the comments I hear from the players after the series loss, and they did get swept by the Bruins, is that they seem to think that they lost because they didn't take advantage of their opportunities. And I think to sum it up as succinctly as I can, basically, the Penguins got beat by a better team, and they should admit that, because the Boston Bruins out-hustled them, they outplayed them, and they out-coached them. But, better luck next year, but let's give some props to the Boston Bruins for the way they took apart the Penguins.
Thanks, Chip. I appreciate it. And they were outscored, just so you know, and we only scored 2 goals, which is unbelievable. We used to do that in 30 seconds, but I'll get to my point when it's short and sweet, too. Now, Smokin' Jim, what's on your mind?
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. If you want the green, you got to see Levine.
Hold it, wait, here's a pen for you.
Thank you, buddy. Just real quick, I just want to acknowledge a couple people that are here that's going to later on be guests on our show. My good friend, we go back a ways when he used to be running the offense and defense of football camp with NFL quarterback Michael Vick. One of the nicest guys I ever met, a true gentleman right now, and he's doing some things with Heinz Ward, helping the young people in the community. Please give a big hand for my friend Glenn Anderson. Pretty soon, she's not here yet, but you can Google her about 8 o'clock, 8:15. We got a supermodel coming in. You won't be able to miss her. She's 6'2". Beautiful young lady by the name of Jessica Danielle. I can't wait to take a look at her. I can't wait to hear what she has to say. Also, I tell you what, it's very seldom that you grow up looking up to somebody that's your hero, that you end up being best friends with them. And that gentleman is here today. He's going to come up and be a guest on our show a little later. I tell you what, he was in Sports Illustrated when he was in junior high, when he scored 81 points in a junior high basketball game. He later on went to be an all-state basketball player in high school. There's only been 2 parade All-American basketball players in the last 40 years in southwestern Pennsylvania. Terrell Pryor is one, and this gentleman's the other one. He is in the WPIAL Hall of Fame. He's in the State of Pennsylvania Hall of Fame. He's the only player in Duquesne University history to lead the team in assists and points. He's in the Duquesne University Hall of Fame. In high school, he played in the round ball All-American game. He scored 25 points against the best talent in the country. In the NBA, he played for the Boston Celtics. Everybody, please give a big hand for my best friend, BB Flannery. Wave to all your fans, BB. And I would like to wish BB Flannery, Glenn Anderson, and all the fathers here happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Wait a minute, I said happy Father's Day. Give a big hand. Hey, I used to always say that the only sign of life in Cleveland is the sign that says Pittsburgh 120 miles. But I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Former Cleveland Cavalier Sean Kemp has 20 kids with 10 different women, so there's always going to be life in Cleveland. I tell you what, what's the only difference between a Cleveland person and a little baby? Eventually, the baby stops whining. Hey, listen, the Cleveland Browns has never won a Super Bowl. Now, when Baltimore Ravens went to Baltimore, the Ravens won 2 Super Bowls, and the people in Cleveland are still whining. The Cleveland Cavaliers have never won an NBA championship. When LeBron James left Cleveland to go to Miami, Miami won 2 championships, and the people in Cleveland are still whining. The Cleveland Indians has never won a World Series, and the people in Cleveland are still whining. Right now, there are more wife beaters in Cleveland because of the Browns, Cavaliers, and the Indians. And I tell you what is the only thing that will stop a man in Cleveland from beating his wife? If you dress her in black and gold.
How do you follow that, folks? That's all I can say. Why don't we pause for a second here? Let me digest that. And I really can't hear right now, so we're going to have to hold up till we get a guest. But I got to echo with what Chip's saying. The better team won. I got to eat humble pie, crow, and everything else because I said they could win at the beginning of the season. I still felt that way, but it looked like there was a 4x8 Luan board blocking the goal. I mean, Rask was playing out of his mind, and Bakun, for as much as I criticized him, he's a relief pitcher. He did fill in. When you get beat by 1 goal, I mean, your goaltender did pretty well. And for our stars, Malkin and Crosby, they got to look in the mirror. They didn't score. That's how simple it is. You got the 2 best so-called players. You have to score. And on that happy note, I'm done. That's what's on our mind, and we're going to go to our next segment where we have guests. We got a lot of great guests, and we're going to have some super conversation here, I know. All right, we're going to bring our first guest up, the legendary BB Flannery.
My best friend.
Welcome to the show.
BB, it's a pleasure.
Thanks for coming in to downtown Dormont. You know, Sip Sports Bar. You can find us on Pittsburgh Sportsline at Facebook. We'll put the video up when it's available. BPTV usually puts it up within a day or so. And if not, you'll find it on YouTube. So let's get this interview. Tell the people who you are and where you're living at now, and we'll start going from there about some of your exploits here.
I'm B.B. Flannery. I'm from New.
That is weird stuff. Who is this guy? Smoking Jim's rubbing off.
I'm B.B. Flannery, and I moved back to my childhood home. I live in New Kensington, and I'm a guidance counselor now with Presley Ridge on the north side.
Great. That sounds super. Now, we can't let you just talk about what you're doing now. How about playing basketball back in the 70s?
I think back in the 70s, as you know, basketball was the hotbed in the country. Basketball was really huge. The WPIL was the biggest basketball organization in the country. But since then, I mean, if you won a state championship, people don't know this. Now there's quad A, double A, triple A. Back in the 70s, there was one division, and that was just Class A. So if you won the WPL championship, you had to beat 116 teams.
Wow.
Now you have quad A, triple A, so you're only beating maybe 30 teams.
So it's
because
watered
you're
down in a sense.
It's definitely watered down.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So even though the players might be bigger and think they're better,
right,
you were a lot tougher to do that.
Well, you know,
on my opinion.
Yeah,
these are our opinions.
My opinion now, I think that, well, at least in this area, the athletes obviously have gotten bigger, stronger, and faster. But back in the 70s, just basketball was just amazing. Yeah, just amazing. We had 30 division. My senior year, we had 30 players play Division I.
Wow.
During my 4 years of high school, there might have been 60, 70 players go Division I.
Nowadays, you're lucky if one player
Exactly.
goes D1.
Which high school did you play for?
I played for Valley High School in New Kensington.
Familiar where it's at.
That's great. Now, I saw you play back in the day. My dad was a referee, and I got to travel around a lot, so I saw a lot of great games. I went to Keystone Oaks. This is the center of Keystone Oaks here.
Sure.
We had the Werner brothers, and I mentioned John Werner, who
Mickey
grew up.
Davila?
Mickey Davila from Puerto Rico. Wow. Coach Sims brought him in. Coach
right.
Sims has a Duke's Rib House, some of the best ribs in the area. You got to go to Baptist Road, right over in my neighborhood in Bethel Park.
Okay.
Go see Coach Sims.
Bethel Park, the great Steve Previs, Armin Gillen.
Another one of his best friends.
Right.
Definitely. See how we know the names? We had this Billy Russo was a great basketball player back then with KO and Kevin Pearl and Davila. They were all the guys. We won a championship here.
Right.
And that was against Bethel Park, Upper St. Clair, Mount Lebanon.
Right.
We barely qualified, with the number of people in our school.
Sure. I mean,
So
it was
you're
amazing.
right about it.
I think there was a school right around here called, I want to say South Catholic. South Hills Catholic.
That's our rival. It's right across the street.
They had a great basketball team back in '75 as well. So.
Exactly. There were some. They not only had tough basketball games.
Shane Dickens go there?
Yeah, he went to South Hills. I think they closed up in '76 or something like that.
Yeah, in the city there. Yeah. A lot of schools, and they consolidated so many things. Look, how'd you get Woody High? Woodland Hills,
right.
One of your places he doesn't like. Look at Gateway. We got to bring up some of these schools. They didn't recruit you, did they? Like my friend's school here at Gateway. He's always talking about recruitment.
No,
I'm always interested in that.
Well, no, back then, my high school, we had a pretty good team. Valley High School back then, we had myself, who was a parade All-American. We had Benji Pryor, who's the first player to start in the Dapper Dan Round Ball Classic and the Big 33 Classic.
Wow.
So our team, my junior and senior year, we were ranked top 10 teams in the country. We ended up losing to Fifth Avenue with the great Sam Clancy, Warner Macklin. So back then, Valley High School at that time, well, we were pretty good on our own, so there wasn't no recruiting.
Right.
We stood on our own.
I'm glad you clarified this because this guy's always talking about schools recruiting. I didn't know what that was. I was an innocent babe here. I knew I was on your side like this. You have the players right there. They're homegrown.
Right.
Even if they moved in their freshman year, they're still homegrown there. Families do move, Smoking Jim. You got any questions there, Chip, or Smoking Jim?
Well, BB, in high school and in college, you were coached by the legendary Mike Rice.
Yes.
And did you also know his son at all, the coach from Rutgers?
Well, I'll tell you a brief story. Mike Rice, who was from Robert Morris, that young man was actually like my god brother. When I went to Valley High School, his father, Mike Rice Sr., was my high school coach. When I went to Duquesne, some people would say it was a package deal. I'll just say that we went to Duquesne together, Mike Rice and myself.
You're a true diplomat.
And Mike Rice Jr. then was only 10 years old, so the night National Letter of Intent Day, I actually slept in Mike Rice Jr.'s bed so that no other school would come looking for me.
Really? You were hiding out?
Yeah, I was hiding out. So,
nice.
So now everybody knows Mike Rice Jr. as the crazy coach from Rutgers University. I don't know how anybody in this room feels about that. His father was very fiery, and some of the things that he may have done, I may have seen back in the early 70s. And I'm not saying that it's right, but what I am saying, there were coaches back in the early 70s, Woody Hayes and people that coached football, Frank Cush, that might have grabbed the guy by the face mask once or twice. He may have overstepped the line, but I can tell you that Mike Rice Jr., and I've known him when he was at Robert Morris and won at Robert Morris.
Yeah.
I knew him before he went to Rutgers. People make mistakes. He was fiery, and he crossed that line. But to vilify him, I just feel bad for him and his father and his family, because that's why there's erasers on pencils. People make mistakes, and
Great point.
He's made some mistakes.
Very well said, baby. Very well said.
Well spoken there.
And I always say a pat on the back is only 6 inches away from a kick in the butt.
Well, I believe that eventually he'll get another coaching job. I mean, right now everything's got to cool down because some people's passions are inflamed or whatever. But he's a good basketball coach, and
right.
he'll end up back in the game.
It's going to be a while. He's going to have to coach his daughter's grade school team for a while. I mean,
you got to go to the minor leagues again.
Yeah, he's going to have to
credibility.
But he should, and that's what's so great about society. That we are a forgiving society. Mm-hmm. We will give you a second chance, but I think he does need to go pay his dues, and show people that he's trying to do the right things. And I'm sure, that things will work out for him and his family.
No, thanks for sharing all that. With that ring there, what's that ring? That's a heck of a ring you got there flashing around. Just your school ring? You got two.
With this ring, I was lucky enough that I was on the last team for Duquesne that went to the NCAA tournament.
Can we get a close-up of any of these rings here?
So I was lucky.
We'll let you show a little jewelry off.
Do that, and then I was also blessed to go into the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame. So.
And that's a Hall of Fame ring? Yes. Why don't you give a little camera shot? We'll get a camera shot of your ring there. Can you get? Because a lot of people don't see those rings, and you worked hard to get that.
Maybe another gentleman that you played ball with, Norm Nixon. Back in those days, Duquesne was the power here in Pittsburgh, much more so than the Pitt team or any others.
Yeah, I would like to. People don't realize that there actually was a time when I graduated from Duquesne, and there was guys before me like the Nelson twins and Jared Durham and the Ricketts and Cy Hugo Green. When I graduated from Duquesne in 1980, we were like 30 games ahead of Pitt in the all-time series.
Wow.
Most people don't know that.
I didn't know that, so you just told
I remember it from when I was a teenager growing up.
Absolutely. But times has changed, and Pitt caught us in the last 30 years playing twice a year. They caught us and obviously have passed us. But there were the time when we were the big boys on this in this town. As a matter of fact, the first black man that played in the NBA was Duquesne Duke. Chuck Cooper, yes sir. Chuck Cooper. So, and then Cy Hugo Green followed him a year or two later to the Boston Celtics. So Duquesne has a great tradition, and back then, if you wanted to go to school, you went to Duquesne if you was a ball player. But times have changed.
I have another guy further back named Alan Frank.
Alan Frank?
He was an All-American. His son played for the San Francisco 49ers.
Right.
And I can tell you.
Tight end.
And doctor. He became a doctor. I'll tell you a story about Alan Frank. I worked for a guy that owned a store, Ralph's Discount. He had to go get Zach's car, who owned the place. So he goes, Alan, you got to meet the guy up there. Now, I knew Alan Frank, but I see a guy sitting in the passenger seat. Now, he was a tall guy. He's in the passenger seat driving down Smithfield Street in a Cadillac in the middle of daylight. And it's like, I never saw anything like it, and I had met him before. There's an All-American from the past driving down the middle of the street on the passenger side of the car.
Oh, my goodness.
That's how long his legs were and arms were.
And as we wrap this up, BB, would you like to tell all your fans and everybody that will be viewing a little bit about your son and maybe a football camp that your son will be bringing here to Western Pennsylvania?
Yeah, thank you, Smoke, and I appreciate it. If I can, I don't want to brag about it, but I am proud of my son.
Hold on, we do all this shameless promotion. Let it out there.
I'm proud of my son and my grandson. My son started 7-on-7 nationally. It's no secret. It is now caught on all over the country. But he started it out with how states play each other nationally. The best players in the state of Pennsylvania play the best players from Ohio. And it's become one of the top camps in the country. He'll be bringing that camp. He'll be bringing that camp here to Pittsburgh.
Do you know what date?
This summer. It's in July, but I'm not sure. I'm not
All
sure.
right, we'll look for it when we get the information. We'll put it out there for him.
But the biggest thing that if there are any young people in the audience, and I know there's one young man that'll be coming up here shortly. All the things that we talked about, playing basketball and things like that, that's a lot of fluff. You got a better chance of going to the moon than you do of becoming a professional football player or a basketball player, because there's less people competing to be astronauts than there are for kids trying to play sports.
Wow.
So the numbers are in your favor to become an astronaut before you can become a professional athlete. So go to school. I have a grandson that is going to Stanford. He's a 4.4 student, and he's a pretty good football player. But it's pretty well known in my family that education comes first. So whoever's watching this show, young men, young women, sports is great, but get an education.
Very well said. Very well said.
And I did read the article that Smoke and Jim wrote on Brandon, your grandson. So, and this show will be on, Verizon 32 on BPTV, and we'll spread it out and we'll tell you when it's up. Thanks again, BB.
And something we always say at Gateway, if you get a C, you can play for me.
Well, my next guest is a longtime friend of my family, was my dad's best friend, and he's also a coach at Langley High School for basketball for a long time, and he's an athlete at the advanced age with, I'm not going to tell it on the air, he can say it. This is Pat Carmack. Come on up.
All right, Mr. Carmack.
Pat, thanks for coming to the show. Smoke and Jim.
Mr. Carmack.
Pat,
Chip.
pleasure.
To meet you guys. That's a tough act to follow, BB. there.
Well, I figured if anybody can handle it,
Oh
Coach,
boy, I don't know.
you can handle it.
I don't know. That's
I saw you.
no rings, baby.
Oh, wait, I heard you have some gold medals. I've seen some magazines. There's a senior magazine I see around, and I had to call him up one day. I said, I think I only saw 3 gold medals. He goes, I was close on a couple others. This guy's a super competitor. Tell him how old you are, please.
81.
All right.
God bless you.
I actually have 44 medals.
Well, that's what I want to hear. I lost track.
That's the state competition.
Okay.
And that's also Pittsburgh. And then a couple coaching.
Right.
Yeah. Talking about BB, now that's when I was coaching back in the 70s. Okay, I retired in '91, and Langley, to be truthful, Langley was never an outstanding like Gateway or Valley. They were never an outstanding sports team except for baseball. Baseball was usually their best sport. As far as basketball. Langley opened in 1923, and it just closed last year. So it's no longer a high school, but it's an elementary school. but they only won 3 basketball championships.
Wow.
I was
How many
lucky,
did you win?
I was lucky to win 1. Now,
There you go.
I was there 4 times. I played Peabody several times, and but I beat Shenley, which was that was
a
the
big
big
one.
one. That was
Yeah.
the big one.
Definitely.
In fact, when I beat Shenley, they even had me Coach of the Year, the Dapper Dan Coach of the Year, and I also coached
Really?
the Ron Ball team. So anyway, Chuck Crummy, he's still at Central Catholic. Chuck and I actually we coached not the big game, but the prelim
Preliminary.
game, and it was the City Catholic against the Whipule. The Whipule was supposed to beat us, and Chuck and I we eked out a 1-point win, but the funny part was we're playing because into overtime. All right. Anyway, Sonny Vaccaro, who runs the Ron Ball, he comes down. He says, "Pat, get this game over with. Everybody's waiting for the big game." And I said, "Quote, what the hell do you think we're trying to do?" You know. But anyway, we
won by 1 in overtime.
We won by 1 in overtime. So Chuck and I were very happy about that. But
No, that's great.
talking about your dad, we were very, very good friends, very tight, very close friends, almost like brothers.
That's what I thought.
I think I mentioned to Chief there, when I would go anywhere with Saul,
Right.
I'd always say, yeah, I brought my official with me. I'm okay.
Yeah, but Saul was no homer.
Oh,
That's the only
right.
thing.
That's right.
You got to remember that. He was a
up.
comedian.
He was straight up.
I know he had many discussions with you over plays and calls too,
Right.
like everybody else that he was.
Well, like any coach, you can go back years and bring up a couple games that you wish was different, ended different. And one that I can remember distinctly was the Altoona game. We were in the state playoffs, and the coach from Johnstown, his name was Paul Litwack, he called me and he gave me this. He hated Altoona.
Okay.
So he calls me up and he gives me this scouting report that was, I asked him, "Paul, what the hell did they have for breakfast?" It was so complete, So anyway,
He knew everything.
we knew them. So at that time, I had a state championship team. Without a doubt, this team could have won the state championship. But in the meantime, we have to play Altoona at IUP. So Altoona had 5 kids that were decent ball players. I had Bobby Howard, who I think Bobby Howard was one of the best athletes ever come out of Langley. Bobby played for Tampa Bay Bucks and Green Bay Packers. Okay. Anyway, Ronnie Stevenson, who played at Duquesne, of course after BB played, but Ronnie played, and then I had this Kenny Snyder. But I had a good team, very good team. But here, the first 2 minutes of the game, Bobby Howard's on the bench with a bad ankle. The kids stepped on his ankle on purpose. They were dirty team.
Really?
Anyway, to make a long story short, we lost the game by 1 or 2 points, but in the stats, now we're playing a zone, they're playing man. We fouled them 27 times. They fouled us 5, okay? Now, you talk about home cooking, Anyway, we shot 5 foul shots. I think we made them all, but they shot 27, made about 23 of them. We lost by 1 or 2, but here's the kicker.
After that,
There was 1 minute left in the game. I call a timeout. We're down by 1. I call a timeout. The official who is trailing, he comes up and he says, "That's a technical on you." And I come off the bench. "What are you talking about, a technical?" He says, "If you knew the rules, coach, he gives the ball to the closest official, and that's the guy in front and behind him. He threw the ball to the one he saw." And I said, "If you know the rules, it's after a violation. There's no violation here." But still a T, okay?
Wow.
They
T
got
job.
the foul shots plus possession. But here's the I'm not saying the PIAA is is bad, but I'm saying Altoona brought 56 busloads of people to that game. You know what Langley had?
One bus?
Our principal wasn't a sports type of guy. 5 people.
Wow.
Now I think the money angle played a fact.
Yes, sir.
Played a fact.
You're playing all what we believe with conspiracies and other stuff.
Well,
You'll get us going for another show.
I'm not saying it was a conspiracy. I thought it was a homer.
Yeah.
Alan and I have talked about that before,
Yeah.
about how referees affect the outcome of games, and it's simple.
Oh, without a doubt. You know, I always thought coaching, if the officials have to determine the game, it's wrong.
Right.
I agree
It's
with
wrong.
you.
It's
I
wong.
agree with
Me
you.
too, and my dad would say the same thing.
Without
You
a doubt.
shouldn't even see us.
That's why your
And what's
dad,
even
right?
more-
right?
What's
They
even
should be
worse
invisible.
is when the officials don't know the rules.
Right.
The coaches do.
Right.
And the officials
But
they
that's
misinterpret them.
one. That happened over 20 some years ago, and it still bothers me. You know why? Not me.
For the kids.
My kids.
Yeah, sure,
They
absolutely.
could have gone to Hershey,
Right.
and that's a shame. How can you explain that to kids?
Right.
You can't.
No.
They only
can't
have
do it.
one shot, 2 shots at that,
Right.
over their
Right.
career,
Right.
if that.
Right.
So no. How many wins did you have, or what kind of record did you have at Langley?
Well,
Or-
like,
just-
like I said,
It was a tough one.
Langley opened in 23, and there's been quite a few coaches, but I think I won more games than all of them put together. So,
there you go.
Good
There
for
you go.
you.
Hey, on that happy note,
on a happy note, yeah.
I wish you the best of luck in all your competition.
Alan.
Keep going for the gold.
without
You're
it.
welcome back anytime you feel like talking and telling us a couple stories, Coach.
Okay, Alan.
All right, Pat. Thank you.
I just want to say I went to the same school as BB.
No way, BB.
Yeah, I went to
A
Valley.
Valley graduate. Who knew? He's in the house. There we go. Martin
My
Thomas.
father was just like you. He was a referee, and he took me around to the games whenever he'd. Well, not all
We're
the
brothers
time,
from
some.
different mothers. Here we go.
Solly Thomas. Yeah.
Here we go. Listen.
On the corner, just the end of any street, there might be a cool place to play. Monday through Sunday, good musicians you will meet. Everyone has something to say. The girls are pretty, the boys are ugly to the bone, but at least they can play. If you're like we are, you like them and every night, so come on out to Pittsburgh, PA. In the Burgh, in the Burgh,
In the bird.
Pittsburgh, jamming out in Pittsburgh, PA. In the Burgh, in the Burgh, Pittsburgh, everyone has something to say. Heinz 86, Heinz 57, Father Heinz. What's with that name?
I don't know.
Check out those Steeler fans, you'll never hear them say out loud, it's only a game. Chili Billy, Bruno Sammartino, Jonas Song, Mario Lemieux, Techno Granny, Dodo Marmarosa, Fanny Falk. It's still just a few. In the Bird, in the Bird,
In the bird.
Pittsburgh, jamming out
In the bird. In the bird. No, bird. In the bird.
Pittsburgh, everyone has something to say. In the Bird.
In the bird.
In the Burgh. In the Burgh.
In the bird.
Woo! Hey, that felt like some good soul music right there, bro.
That's why I brought him to this show. Have a seat with us. Sit down and talk about
Yeah.
Valley High School.
Oh, I'll tell
and your
you.
dad was a referee. You never
Yeah.
told me. Come
I
on.
never told you no.
You didn't tell me anything. And you're a jewelry maker,
Well,
producer, editor. This guy can do it all.
Did they close up Valley, or is it still a high school?
It's still a high school.
Hey, you just met him. Come on now. We're always nice to our guests.
We throw chairs now.
We're bringing BB back for another guest appearance.
Yeah, we knew when it was going on that it was something special. I mean, guys scoring 85 points in a game, or
81.
89, no,
90.
97. Yeah,
They didn't teach math at Valley. It's obvious.
No, but
He's more creative. But your dad was a referee. How long did he do that?
Oh, before I was born till long time. Yeah.
And he refereed in the area around there?
He did, yes.
Nice.
He did football, basketball, mostly football and basketball.
Nice. Interesting.
Yeah.
And what made you write this song?
Well,
how did you come up with this song? You threw Pittsburgh stuff, people?
Techno Granny said, write a song for her show.
Okay.
And so I said, okay. Pulled up that song, put Techno Granny's name in it, and voila, there you go.
Here you are, and a few sports stars. That's why I brought you on. We just need a little segue into sports, and you did great there. I appreciate it.
Well,
you may have to write we might have to get him to write a Pittsburgh Sportsline song.
Sportsline song. All right, let's see what we can do.
We'll have to see what you can come up with.
Yeah.
I know you can.
Some trombone and tuba and some lower brass, right?
Whatever I don't even know what music is there. Just play it. It sounded great. I appreciate it, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome back again.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, our next guest.
You know what I mean? I really
He's been on our live studio show.
We
got Glenn Anderson here. He'll introduce himself, and no, I'm not trying to get any money off of you today. Anything.
Mr. Anderson.
Good to see you.
Not today, right? No, we're tomorrow. No, not tomorrow either.
Next week, then.
No, nothing. We're out of that gig. It's a different gig.
No, different gig.
Yeah, definitely. We got this show going. We do the studio show.
Right.
You're welcome on because you're one of the most positive guys dealing with positive athletes. So I don't know if I could serve it up any bigger as a volleyball, basketball, beach ball. Go ahead, Glenn. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. There again, I work for MSA Sports, and MSA Sports actually is the official broadcast network for all high school sports here in Western PA. And we do all the high school championships. You might be familiar with the football championships at Heinz Field, the basketball championships at A.J. Palumbo. We just did the baseball championships down in Washington, PA, down at Console Field.
Oh, really?
And just finished up with those. And we are continuing now to follow some of the WPIAL teams as they go into states. So that's one of the neat things this time of year, that we get to follow the WPIAL teams to the state playoffs. So one of the programs that we've been working with the last 2 years is called the Positive Athlete. And we were approached about 2 years ago, a company called Celebrate Positive out of Atlanta, Georgia, came to us and was looking for sponsorship, and quite honestly, with the MSA Sports Network, there is only 4 of us that are full-time. So
Is that all? Here, I thought you all had big money.
Well, that's why you were
short pockets.
No, we have 60 broadcasters that are all independent. They're all independent contractors, but as far as the people behind the scenes, there's really only 4 of us. And so we said, we can't necessarily sponsor the program, but we'll be more than happy to help market and promote it. So last year they approached us in January. The banquet was in April, and we only had 3 months basically to put everything together and get nominations and bring some of the kids out. And we ended up honoring about 26 positive athletes.
Really?
For both boys and girls sports. And it's not necessarily the best athletes. It's the positive athlete off your team. It could be the person who is a senior who's never played, but he's there every day. He's working hard. He's setting a good example. He's a motivator to the other players. I know last year our men's positive athlete was actually a soccer player out of General McLean, and
Where's General McLean at?
Up near Erie.
Okay.
Up near Erie, and the summer prior to his soccer season, he was in an auto accident and lost his leg. And every fall, every practice, every game that fall, he attended and helped motivate his team. And when he received his award for Positive Athlete back in April, that was the first time he had walked on his prosthetic leg to come up and take his award.
Really?
So
What a story.
it was really interesting. So these are the type of kids that Heinz wants to recognize, that we recognize.
And you mean Heinz Ward?
Yes, Heinz Ward. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry, because Heinz is
Because we're
kind of
confused
associated.
after the song we just heard. Heinz Ward or Heinz Field? What's up with that Heinz? And that's in the Berg. Oh, sorry,
Yes,
another
that's
promotion.
Okay, no problem.
Just trying to help a guy out.
Yes, Heinz
And you.
Heinz has been associated with the program, so it's kind of nice because he wants to recognize some of these kids, in the Pittsburgh area, and what a great honor to get up there and meet Heinz Ward and have him present an award to you for being a positive athlete. And one of the nice things is we do have one of our finalists here tonight too.
No way.
That was actually our football finalist for the positive athlete this year. So
Who has a better smile, Heinz Ward or the unnamed guest? Oh, Jordan.
Jordan, it's close, but you'll see.
Wait, there's a third candidate.
You'll see when he gets up here. Look real close at Smoking Jim and Jordan, and
Hold it. 1 + 1 is always 2. I learned that at Keystone Oaks. Okay, don't go any further here. I didn't mean to take you off your train of thought. I don't know where you're walking me around the block. This is my show.
Let's switch seats.
Okay. We've done that before. I'm not doing it again with you. Go ahead, Glenn. Glenn's always a great guy. We got to have him on our live studio show, which is broadcast Tuesday nights. You've been there in No, maybe not. This is better to have a tape show because he's very rough with his language and everything, as you can see.
edit me out, right?
Yeah. No, but go ahead.
And
I didn't mean to take you off your spiel, but I like doing that with salesmen.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
Gotta keep me on track, right?
Maybe you
Keep
can
me focused.
market and sponsor Pittsburgh Sportsline with MSA, who has no money. MSA has no money, folks.
Well, along those lines, I do handle sponsorship for the MSA Sports Network.
See? I'm trying to help you out.
But no, as far as positive athlete this year, it was our second year, so we were much better prepared for it. We had many more nominations. We had some great finalists as well. And it was just a really nice event. We hold the awards banquet at the Heinz History Center. Nice. And they have a really nice facility there to have the function, and we brought some other sponsors in this year just to see the event, and so they could experience and kind of have an understanding of what we're doing. So hopefully,
how many athletes won awards this year?
Well, what we do is there's 28 sports with the Whitfield.
Okay.
14 boys and 14 girls.
Okay.
So we had, I think, again 26 this year out of the 28.
Get out and vote, folks. Well, you got to come on the show earlier so we can vote for that. I told you.
Whitfield sport is rifle, of course, and we've never had a rifle finalist yet. I don't know if anybody's nominating them, and I can't remember what the other sport was that we didn't have a
basket weaving that Smoking Jim
participated in. Coaches.
You guys are friends, and you told me on the side that he was an award-winning basket weaver. So I don't know how true it is. We'll talk off air because it gets a little crazy here. But
he's the master of all, right?
Yes. And we're running short on some time, so we got to get that young man who's a positive athlete out here, and we have to put him up here just with the smile. So you want to introduce him?
Sure.
Are we going to bring Anthony?
You want to bring Anthony up first? That's up to you.
Either way. What do you think?
What do you think's best?
Bring Jordan.
Okay. Just I meant.
I like to
I'll give you a little intro to Jordan here.
A little one.
Yeah, it's not long.
32 pages.
Like I mentioned earlier, Jordan was our football finalist for the positive athlete this year. Jordan is a junior, just finished up his junior year, plays football at Brashear High School. Jordan's much more than a very good football player. At a young age, he's already a role model and a positive influence on everyone he meets. Jordan had over 20 different nominations from teachers, coaches, family, and friends who have been impacted by this young man. On the field, he's an exceptional football player. Off the field, he has a CAS AP curriculum and maintains a great GPA. He also participates in the Prayer for Peace March and Earth Day, cleanup of local neighborhoods. He volunteers for Special Olympics, coaches youth sports, and he mentors and tutors young children through the Shadow Student Athlete Program.
When does he sleep?
You'll have to ask him.
I will ask him.
And to top it off, Brashear High School lost the lead for their musical this year. Guess who stepped up and took the lead in Greece?
Jordan.
So let me bring up Jordan Vick.
Bring his hand up there. Jordan, welcome to the show.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Jordan, pleasure to meet you.
And all I want you to do is just smile into the camera. And Smoking Jim, if you could smile. I'm just saying. Welcome aboard. When do you sleep? Or did you sleep a lot like when I did when I was a baby? I slept 18 hours a day. I still got a few more hours in the tank.
No, I usually try to go to bed before 11, get all the homework done, study some plays if it needs to be, just try to get everything in before nap time, bedtime.
What motivates you? What keeps you going here? Because a lot of people, we need role models, and we're looking at that. A lot of youth are lost. They don't know what to even do. They're depressed. They don't want to play sports. They don't even want to go to school. What's your secret?
Well, I mean, it's all my parents, my family. They keep me motivated. They're always behind me 100% of the way. My mom takes me to all my camps. My dad takes me to all my camps. If you lose a game, they say the same
thing.
Do
they cry with you, or?
Oh, no, I haven't seen them cry yet. No tears yet.
Okay.
But they're just behind me 100% of the way.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
No, I'm an only child.
You're an only child. They're carting you all over the state.
Yeah, all over the country.
Really?
Yeah, I was just in.
Where have you been?
Mostly like around the tri-state area. I've been in Ohio for camps. We went up to.
Well, for a city guy, going to Ohio is like traveling away. I know. I grew up around here. If I went to Erie, I thought that was a big trip. Okay.
We were just actually in New Jersey on Saturday for a camp.
What camp was that?
It's called the Get Discovered Camp. It was It was a really nice camp. There were at least like 30 coaches. So I showed some good stuff.
Well, tell us what position you play, because I'm a little lax on that. With your resume, I just was knocked almost speechless. For the talking machine, that's hard. Well, what position is this, Jordan? Come on.
Slot and running back. D-back. No, I played.
He's a comedian. He's looking for another career.
No,
I almost believed it.
I feel like a running back. But no, I play nose guard and guard. So.
What's some of your weight room numbers?
300 bench.
Wow.
At least it was pretty easy.
22 times.
23.
Okay. I'm just guessing.
500 squat.
Woo!
225 clean.
You know this is a coach here. He's a scout. He coaches. He's unbelievable. He's taking statistics. Do you guys plan on moving for your senior year?
Yeah, really.
There's a place out towards Monroeville.
Hey, already got a pen for him to sign the letter of intent to the University of Gateway.
I think he just found a place for you to live.
Jordan, don't believe it. It's not God's country. It's just Monroe.
Sorry to break you up on that.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
No, we appreciate somebody that works hard. And
definitely, thank you.
You hit the weights pretty hard. Do you do any running at all too, or?
Yeah, I trained with Dwayne Brown, 210 speed training. I've been training with him since 7th grade.
He's one of the best.
Yeah, he's been great. He got my speed down, got my feet together. I wouldn't be the athlete I am without him and Von Madden. Yeah.
And I'm gonna go visit Mr. Brown whenever he moves out of Beltsuver.
Upper St. Beltsuver, I heard. Okay. Hey, we're going to have to cut this short. We got a couple more guests to go. You're welcome back another time on our show.
Great job, man.
I wish you the best of luck. Good luck to you.
Yeah, best of luck to you.
Tell everybody, because you're getting an invite to come back, because I want to ask you a couple stories, and you're not going to be able to tell them all, because I know some of your resume. I don't look this dumb all the time, so go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody out here.
Hi, my name is Anthony Griggs. I'm originally from New Jersey.
We don't hold that against you.
Okay, thank you. But you might hold something against me when I tell you I went to Villanova, I went to Ohio State. Played at Philadelphia Eagles, got traded to Cleveland Browns, played with Cleveland for 4 years, 3 years. And then I worked for Bill Cowher here at the Steelers for 13 years.
Well, one redeeming feature.
All right.
Welcome aboard. You made it.
Now I'm okay.
Only partially, but if you can tell us Bill Cowher stories, you'll be invited back. That's all. You can tell good ones, bad. No, good ones.
I'll tell them I'll tell them later. I'll tell them when I come back. I'll tell them when I come back. But it was good. I was working for the Steelers in player development, and player development was a position. It was a new position, helping players off the field in financial education, trying to keep them to go back to school, bringing in speakers, doing a lot of things that didn't involve football. A lot of things I heard up here from BB, Jordan talking about sports is over here, but you can see the academic progress when a guy like a Jordan sits up here and you hear his GPA and things like that.
Right.
That's really what it comes to be. From BB having the legacy that he's left, and what you try to deal with players. And when players are playing in the pros, obviously there's a lot of distractions.
Yes.
And so I just tried to get them to see that the distractions are there, and also that you can paint the vision of being somebody else. Your identity, your number on your uniform is one thing, but who you are when you take that all off is another thing.
That's a great point. We got to get you back on just to talk about stuff like that.
I'll talk about it.
We'll get you back here for that.
I
The
appreciate
stories
it.
about Cowher and players, we all know a lot
Stories.
of them.
There's no stories about Cowher. I got one more year left of my agreement.
Wait a second. I'm talking about he had the horses, but he played not to lose, because I'm a little bit disgruntled fan over the time, just so you know.
Let it go. Let it go.
I can't.
You gotta let it go.
I can't because a New Jersey guy, I believe in conspiracies like Coach Carmack said, no, it was a homer. Well, I have this thing. You had a quarterback named Neil O'Donnell who never made a mistake. And all of a sudden, in the biggest game in history, no, that's not even that. Where was he from? Just answer that. Where was Neil O'Donnell from?
New Jersey.
Have a nice day.
I'm from the city of Pittsburgh, born and raised. I met Smokin' Joe when I was a ring girl for one of the boxing events, and we had a great time. He interviewed me there, and here I am.
Was that at one of the Golden Gloves?
Yes, the Golden Gloves.
I was there also.
Girls. Oh, okay.
I was actually sitting next to him, but he kept elbowing me out of the way. Just to interview him. I couldn't figure it out. You know, so I'm glad you made the show.
Oh, yes, I definitely did.
And where were you working that you were fashionably late for this?
Oh, I work for Click Vodka. It's a locally owned vodka
We know.
company.
They advertise and they give you a free drink for all the networking events, and I've been to a lot of them. So if you want Click Vodka,
yes,
just go to some networking events.
Yes, definitely.
Or boxing matches.
Boxing matches, yeah. We have done a
And
couple.
what did I miss?
Well, it's the weekly meeting, so just planning for future. But there's some very exciting things happening with our company in the future, so I'm very excited.
We do a couple shameless promotions with me. I don't mind promoting Pittsburgh girls business here. So what kind of things are happening that you might want to talk about Click Vodka?
Well,
or even with you?
We're on sale this month. Click Vodka's on sale. We're $13.99. We're typically $15.99, so that's a $2 discount for the PA Wine and Spirit store. So definitely a great sale. So you have to check it out. It's, I believe, till the 24th this month. So that's
and these
very
are just
exciting.
these are the opinions of the guests on our show. We're not promoting drinking.
Oh,
This
no.
is BPTV. We're honored to be able to be on the show and do this. So what else do you do? You're a Patriot girl?
Yes, I am a Patriot girl.
How long have you been a Patriot girl?
Actually, just this summer is my first summer with them. So, but it's been going very well so far. I'm enjoying it very, very much so.
And that's with Mike Anthony?
Yes, it is with Mike Anthony.
We miss Mike Anthony. We even saved his seat. You can
Oh,
tell him.
I'll have to.
He's
I'm gonna
he's
call
welcome
him.
there. Call him.
I'm gonna have to yell at him.
He was actually afraid to come on the show.
What?
Yeah, he was. That's why I told him he's invited back.
Yes.
But he keeps sending us beautiful models. So you're welcome back anytime.
Oh, well, I appreciate
and
it.
I appreciate you being here. and thanks
you
for
so
coming
much.
in.
Thank you very much. It was good to see you
Pittsburgh's
again.
fastest rising star.
What's going on?
We got a little announcement to make over there. Uncle Lou slipped me a little piece of paper that says Jesse the Future Lubash is going to be fighting at Kaminsky Park at the end of August.
Wow!
On the card of an
This is
IBO
late
light
breaking
heavyweight
news, folks.
On the card of an IBO light heavyweight championship. So Jesse's getting back in the ring. It was just written down and slipped to me.
Terry, thanks a lot.
Uncle Lou with the scoop.
Right. That's
how
the
we
type
get
of
things
things
done.
we put on BPTV. Public access TV in Bethel Park and throughout the area, Verizon 32. Check out our Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook. Like us. We need some more likes. We hit 271 now. I want to crack 300 by July, something like that. Keep liking us. Hey, Little Z, I want to tell you, last week's show was blown up. Whatever you did, you were the greatest. It didn't work. Dave Cable come back. I had an hour-and-a-half discussion with him. I don't really plead or beg for much, but I said, please put it on there. He goes, it's unintelligible. And I need Jordan to tell you what that means. But it's not on the air, and it's not going to be.
Hey.
But thank you. There's nobody. This guy is Brenner Contracting. He supplies everything, including my towel, because it's getting heated up in here, folks. Brenner Contracting, and what was the name of that fighter?
Team Lubash, Jesse Lubash.
Not that I believe in any promoting, folks. If you got something to say, bring it on our show.
We'll be going to Chicago, folks, end of August. See my brother fight.
Whoa, we're traveling. We're going to be doing some ring announcing.
Yeah, we will. Live.
Thanks, Little Z. Hey, what's happening with you? What's going on? We only got a couple minutes.
Couple minutes real quick. We're going to have these two gentlemen back down August 3rd. Broad Stalker's getting back in the ring down in 31st Street
I just
Studios
found
on the
out
south
August
side.
3rd we got to talk.
Yeah, so
all right.
Get ready. I'm returning back to my role as security, so I'm looking forward to it. You guys can do what you do best.
This is how I met him, a security guy at the Golden Gloves. No, it was a pro fight.
Yeah,
pro fight.
Did he throw you out, Al?
No, he sat me down and wanted to know who I was, and I said, I'm on TV. He goes, you can get me on the air, and you won't be able to get rid of me.
Look at all these people now. This is the best it's been in 17 weeks.
Yeah, we got Kamikaze Kid from Upper St. Hazelwood's here. Look at him, Roberto Clemente. He's wearing his jersey.
I got Storgill. So
and you got pirate gear on.
For Chip.
Chip Hayner, that's in honor of Chip.
It
Chip
is.
gave me the Kool-Aid that was sour. It's tasting sweet now.
Hey, Alan, let me interrupt.
Go ahead, Chip.
Tomorrow night, PNC Park, Jared Cole's going to make his Major League debut, pitching against the defending world champions. Give a little shout out to Jared Cole. Welcome to Pittsburgh.
Hey, we're going to need him.
Yeah. We'll need some live arms because they're chewing up that bullpen and pitching, although A.J. Burnett almost had a complete game, so that's great. And then I wanted to announce that we're going to have Little Z on the air. This show will come after that show, but it's ahead of time. And any fans that are here, you can see Little Z filling in for Big Mike Butera, who's up in New York again for the second week in a row watching the Yankees.
Must be nice.
Well, he's retired, now he's a sheriff, so I don't know, it might be illegal for him to be in Bethel Park TV where the local police are now. There's a little rumor I'm starting.
Conflict of interest.
Right, we'll have to delve into that, but you'll be on the show.
That's fine with me, Mike.
All right, and hey, I want to wind this down. Thanks to everybody for showing up. We had some great hosts, guest hosts here, and I appreciate everybody being here. Thanks for watching our show. We're seen throughout the area in public access TV, Verizon 32 if you can, Comcast 7 in Bethel, and of course YouTube. And if you need to find the show anywhere, go to Smokin' Jim's Facebook page because he'll promote it. Chip will, and so will I.
A lot of great debates on Smokin' Jim's Facebook page.
Well, that'll be coming attractions. We'll talk about that
tomorrow night. Tune in.
All right. Thanks again. Thanks, everybody.